Well, hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are about to start. We are 5 minutes late, but we are all academics, so that's okay. So, welcome to the Motorways of the Sea session. Is that okay?
Like this, not like this.
It's okay?
That's better.
Okay. So I have to fix my arm in this rigid angle, so I don't know if I will ever recover from it. But so welcome again. We will start without further ado the session on Motorways of the Sea. Well, it's very important for us. It's a very large session, the first one that we have after the approval, well, after the submission of the detailed implementation plan. Brian Simpson will tell you everything about it. Just in a nutshell, what will happen is that we will have Brian presenting his report, speaking about the presentation of his report to the Parliament. Then we'll have the institutional stakeholders session, and that I will introduce you to afterwards, and then the industrial stakeholders session, and last but not least, we'll have the roundtable on Motorways of the Sea issues. So without further ado, Brian Simpson, European Coordinator for Motorways of the Sea. Brian.
Well, thank you, Jose, and thank you all for coming this morning to the Motorways of the Seas workshops. And just the sheer number of you would seem to indicate that we've come a long way in a not so long time span with Motorways of the Sea. Now, today I shall just briefly present the detailed implementation plan. It's the first work programme outlining the vision for the future of Motorways of the Sea concept as part of the maritime dimension in the 10T. And I'd like to start with and underline how important the Motorways of the Sea policy is for the overall integration of the EU transport corridors. I spend a lot of my time trying to convince my colleagues that we should work together. Now, this detailed implementation plan gives me an opportunity to do that. Now, how important a dimension of the 10T policy are we? Well, it's a very important dimension. I'm sure you've heard me say many times in the past that the maritime component is 40% of internal trade and 75% of external trade. We have in Europe more than 800 regular ro-ro connections and container services. They call in more than 400 ports and connect with hundreds of ports worldwide. Now, it's estimated that in 2014, the EU ports handle 3.8 billion tonnes of cargo, and around 3 billion tonnes are hinterland traffic that requires the handling either pre or post carriage by truck, rail or barge. There are 79 EU maritime ports are situated directly within 1 out of 9 core corridors, and these ports account for 2/3 of the total European port traffic. And finally, let me underline the growth aspect. European ports are directly linked to over 800,000 enterprises, generating in total the direct and indirect employment of about 3 million people. I was entrusted with the role of the European Coordinator of the Sea, in which we had to present a detailed implementation plan. Now, this document is only the beginning. Your contributions, as well as the inputs from the Member States and the European Parliament, is necessary to further enrich this policy and determine orientation of our future Motorways of the Seas actions. Once consultation has taken place, the plan will constitute a clear and precise guidance for the future direction of Motorways of the Sea policy. In other words, in what areas forthcoming projects should be orientated and how much money would be available. And I stress at this point your involvement. You are the stakeholders. I've been at great pains all throughout this process that we involve you, the stakeholders, and the European Parliament and the Member States in what we produce. And that holds good now. The document is built within the 3 development pillars for shipping and ports that are identified as my key priorities. You're probably getting sick to death of me keep pushing these, but I'll keep pushing them anyway until it's second nature to us all. And those 3 priorities are the environment, the integration of maritime transport and logistics chain, and maritime safety, the traffic management and human element of it all. And let me highlight the important points. First of all, the environment. This is a very important area, and it is worth noting that the shipping industry is the only industry with global regulation for air emissions. Motorways of the Sea can help the industry to comply with applicable EU and IMO legislation, mostly related to the environment, and most should favour projects related to A, air quality, in other words, help the industry to comply with air quality emissions and the sector area, support further development of LNG, methanol, alternative fuels, as well as explore other technical options, to continue to look into ways of lowering LNG storage and logistic costs, and work will continue on fuel efficiency and the use of fossil fuel in order to reduce the CO2 footprint. Second point is operational pollution. Further develop and pilot onboard treatment services like ballast water, recycling, black and grey water and so on. Look to accidental pollution. Measures aimed at improving safety, education, training. These practices are needed in order to improve global safety levels and further alleviate and avoid accidental pollution. And we need to look at environmental compensation measures and the financing of green shipping. Now, the second priority, the integration of maritime and logistics chains. We need to deal with integration of maritime transport in the global logistics chain. We need to support further short sea shipping. We need to develop flow management services to support both onshore organisations and ships in optimising overall traffic flows. We need to improve the last mile connection support. You'll excuse me saying last miles. I'm used to miles, not kilometres. Or we could change it to last kilometres, but I'll stick to last mile. Support further information and communication technologies so ships, ports and stakeholders can exchange information within interoperable systems and processes, both from the voyage management services point of view as well as an efficient cargo procedures. Finally, our outermost regions, I'm not forgetting here, must should support their connection with the mainland so they are not forgotten in the overall 10T policy, and let's enhance the geostrategic potential of islands by, for instance, promoting LNG refueling stations. The maritime safety is It's the third priority, the third pillar. The DIP lists a number of goals and objectives that should be attained thanks to the MOS programme. In safety, development, contingency planning and exercise drills in certain regions for dealing with emergencies and evacuations, for example, cruise ships. The human element, we need to reduce the link to human error, promote interdisciplinary skills, encourage seafarers to adopt a holistic view and provide them with the understanding of the general context of the industry that they're working in. And of course, with the new technologies, we need a new approach to training for those technologies. In traffic management, we need to develop maritime ICT and maritime information systems. Develop information sharing platforms. Rebalance traditional captain-based information systems with shoreside electronic information systems. So what is next? The document is comprehensive and includes an array of possible actions based on the three pillars that I have identified. It comprises a number of topics that covers the full spectrum of possible 10T development options. The next 12 months of consultation process should allow me to limit the number of development actions. Therefore, Motorways of the Seas will be better focused and specific to the extent possible. As I've said, I will engage in a close dialogue with you, the industry stakeholders, with the Member States and with the European Parliament to further fine-tune the most important actions that should be financed from the MOS budget. In conclusion, this document will be crucial for the future development and further development of EU maritime transport. Numerous data related to Motorways of the Seas has been collected so far, either through experience resulted from past or ongoing projects, of which there are 80, as well as close and regular discussions with you. The detailed implementation plan reflects various views and it constitutes a basis for a comprehensive work programme providing an integrated transport approach and other work plans with the 9 strategic vertical corridors. At last, ladies and gentlemen, at last, we are giving a serious focus in the 10T to our maritime strategy. Yes, we're late to the party, but at last we are giving it the priority it needs. And I thank you all for your attendance today and for your attention to what I've said. Thank you.